Again, it's Priscilla Batzel in Spring Hill, Florida at Expressionist Art Studio Gallery in the backyard. Happy November to you, although it's not November here yet. I want to do a simple ring pour today. I have a 14 by 14 inch canvas buried under all these things that I have contemplated using as edge catchers, some of which have been used and some of which have not. But I want to make sure that you know that even cardboard will work as an edge catcher. This is probably not my best choice, the one with a hole in it. I've had problems with that. And this might not either, but it's long enough so that if I'm holding it, it at least covers the edge, the space, and I can stop the paint with it. So that might be what I'm stuck with right now. I am not going to cover my canvas for the moment with white wet paint because I want my paint to stay wet. Because my plan involves using my favorite neon multi-surface folk art paint, and in order for it to dry lighter, I have to use white paint. So that's my plan. I'm going to really try this. And I'm not going to pour a regular ring pour from one side or the other. I'm just going to pour right in the middle and see what happens, because I want to. Because I can. That's my Prussian blue with the Deco Art pouring medium in it, which is pretty cool, because it almost always sells. It's not all Deco Art pouring medium in that mix. It's still got some GAC 800 to keep the paint from cracking when it dries, and Floetrol, because I'm cheap and happy about it. And if I wasn't, I probably wouldn't have this as a hobby, because it would be too expensive. Anyway, I'm liking my colors very much. Don't like it when the paint comes out sideways out of the... I've got to remember to clean my tips out one of these days. Everything is shaken because everything is pre-mixed in squeeze bottles. When you change these out, you may want to clean the rims out underneath. That's weird. Okay, well, they're not sinking away, which is different. Yesterday they were sinking away. And I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen. For sure, I'm not sure. That made so much sense, yeah. I want to put some blue in there too. I think just a little blue, make it pop, a little more blue. I like how that blue dries. I like the metallic blue though. Let's do that. And a little more of that Deco Art pouring medium. And as long as we're at it, let's finish with my favorite color. Because I can. Alright, so I'm going to introduce you to... Oh, I wanted to say, I went to the local church thrift store and got all kinds of stuff. I left a couple things behind I wish I had. I went to look for them yesterday, I couldn't find them. I found a silicone cookie sheet, which I'm going to put paint on and scoop up at some point. So get ready for that. I know that's not something everybody can lay their hands on, but I'm thinking that shallow trays will work well. So for right now, I really want to do half black, half white, but I don't think it really makes much difference when you're doing a ring pour. It just gets swallowed up anyway. I want to make sure that's not pearl. That looks like pearl. Okay, here's my white. And my white always enables me to introduce you to your new best friend if you're paint pouring, at least in my opinion, which is, oh, that was a lot of paint. Sometimes it's hard to talk and work at the same time. And that's a bug or something. Anyway, so this OXO omelet turning spatula, so-called, is available through my Amazon link right under the video. And if I wear glasses, it works even better because then I can see what I'm doing. So let's go back where I was just diddling around and cover the actual canvas. And I'm putting a layer of white wet paint on. It could be a layer of any wet paint. It's just, I bought 5 gallons of white paint a long time ago, so it's my most economical use of that. Paint makes paint flow. Wet paint flows to wet paint. And in this particular case, the white is, I'm crossing my fingers, going to allow me to fully utilize my favorite neon folk art, neon purple. Yeah. And I'm wondering if I'm right under you guys. Okay, well, I guess I am. So now I'm not. So here goes nothing. I don't know if I want to do a lot or a little or just one. But I finally figured out, oh, I got a breeze. Okay, fine, be that way. I get so much of a breeze, everything plastic is blowing around. We'll see what happens. I've got squeeze bottles. I can make rings. I don't usually do things in much of a conventional way. Also, if you're new, you don't know about my Princeton Catalyst spatulas. The rest of you do. And there's a basting brush that I took 3/4 of the bristles out of. That's silicone, that came from Walmart. The rest of these, if you look on my Amazon link, you can find them. Sometimes they're too expensive, but generally they should be between $5 on sale and $10 regular, and somewhere less than that if you're lucky. And I definitely recommend them because they're a lot of fun to use. And I just use one to scrape some of the paint down so I can use that. This is pretty simple, and I know there's some colors in there. I'm going to try and restrain myself and just do a regular tip and pour, but I'm notoriously bad at having patience and waiting for things to uncover themselves. In the ring pour world, I'm not your expert, but I do think they're fun, and I do like the results I get, and I have no guarantees of what I'm going to get yet. And I usually wind up using an edge catcher. I also like to torch sometimes, because I'm kind of looking forward to seeing if I can get some cells out of here. A lot of people don't necessarily like cells in their ring pour, but I'm not one of them. I've thought often of using Rain-X, but I don't want it all over everything right now. I don't know what that would do. When I use Rain-X Original Formula in the yellow spray bottle for car windshields, you can buy at automotive departments, just to be very informative. I have to use it with my recipe, and so do other people, basically, because there have been people who tried to use it and it didn't work for them. But Rain-X Original Formula sprayed on wet acrylic, pouring medium paint will often create instant cells. I'm not sure that white was my best call at the end, but you know what? I have no rules. And a basting brush, which if you're unfamiliar, you will be familiar in a moment. Maybe. Not promising yet. I kind of miss the gold. The gold never showed up at all, and I love to have some gold in there. I'm already breaking my protocol of thinking that I was just going to get this to be a straight up ring pour, but I'm sorry about my head under the camera. I broke my tripod, so it's a little off kilter. It's not the same tripod, it's a different one, and I haven't exactly gotten completely used to it yet. I'm just going to keep doing what I was doing. I want some gold. Even though it comes out sideways, maybe I can fix that. I want some gold up here too. I may go back and put some more in there. I like adding things as I go along. I like not being stuck in anybody's particular idea of how something's supposed to be done. I see that thing in there. Sometimes fingers are just better than anything. Alright, so it's time to pull out an edge catcher. And this one's kind of cool, but ooh, that needs to be helped. I like taking photographs of these after a while, when they've decided to become prettier than paintings occasionally. Okay, so I like to let the paint run over and then squeeze it back on, and that changes the pattern somewhat too, which is kind of cool. And also, since I'm right here right now, I'll show you that I can scrape that right off and use it again. which isn't necessarily the same thing as keeping it for a potential photograph later on, but oh well, never mind. I can let that run over the side too. They're not bad things to use on the edges, but there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to, that it's going to still be wet enough to do that with. So I like this over here, but I'm getting the feeling that I ought to be allowing myself to just add colors that I want, where I want, and do it in any fashion that I please, which includes grabbing another Princeton Catalyst art tool, spatula, even if it's got a little schmutz in it, which is fine. Because I've often thought it would be just nice to combine the abstract accidental art aspect of this with abstract expressionism. And where that comes in is you have the one and then you add the other. And you just give yourself permission to create. Now, what do I have? I have all kinds of things. I showed you basting brushes already. And that's what that does. It creates all kinds of long tendrils. And anytime I see I have a little paint on my tile now, which I do clean somewhat often, mostly every day that I use it, I use that for the edges a lot of times. As much as I like all that in there, I love the patterns that come out of pulling paint with the spatula. Excuse me, not a spatula. Basting brush. In the meantime, I do have a desire to continue on. I don't really want to suck up all that pretty pattern that's over there, but I'm not minding everything else that's happening either. I'm going to wipe off my basting brush because I keep a nice damp cloth handy, and I'm going to put a ribbon of just white paint over here because, as I said to begin with, paint flows to paint. Try not to stick my finger in my edges. I don't want to lose all that gold either. I like the iridescent strip down there. I mean, this is a little less complicated as far as colors go, and that's fine. I think I'm going to use another go round of my edge catcher. I'm going to try and pick up the painting so I'm not sticking my fingers in it, but I don't know if I have a choice right now. Yeah, I'm just going to let that pool down there for a minute. Everything can catch up with everything else. Come on, straighten out. Just pool, move it back and forth so it covers that edge. I'm going to drop it down. It wants to go that way anyway, I can tell. I don't think I'm going to mind if I get to keep a little bit of white space. That won't bother me. I like that ribbon of colorfulness headed for the corner. I kind of wanted to keep it going for the corner. But I do have paint on this edge catcher, and I will use it. Alright, so that's sort of kind of interesting so far. I'm not sure what we're going to do yet, but I think bringing some of all of that down this way is going to work for me. And it is doing so. Slowly and dribulately. That's not a word. And dribulets and rivulets. Sometimes I really wish I would just make up another color cup and keep it to the side. That way I could ribbon right through if I wanted to. But, whoa. Since I have my colors handy, and everything else handy too, there's really no reason to do that, and then I would have to use it later. I mean, poor me. Yeah, right. And I have chains handy, and I did lose them and I did find them, so I'm kind of celebrating chaindom. And they look so much like ring pours sometimes that I love it. Just going to see if I can get a little bit more control over there. I did a recent one of these that I don't know if anybody's seen yet because it's going to need a part 3. It just wasn't, it didn't have the va-va-voom I was looking for yet. So it will probably get the part 3. I want more gold. That's all there is to it. So that's kind of pretty. I don't mind it. That white is just surprised me by how intense it got from just that little bunch of dribbles at the end there. I'm going to leave, no maybe not, I was going to leave the paint in the chain. I have some nice patterns I don't really want to see go, but I don't mind combining things. And I am doing this all the time because I need to learn how to do it. I mean, I really want to learn how to control it a lot better. And I can dip my chain in certain areas. Addicted to chain. That sounds strange. But I do start to get the feeling that I'm drawing with the chain. I'm just pulling the paint where I really, really want it, and I'm not unhappy with my results. Sometimes when the paint is thick, it's a little scary. Just a little. This is so pretty up here, I don't really want to mess with it too much, but I have to a little bit. So again, not your conventional ring pour, but still kind of cool. I like that those are connected now. I like that purple, but I also like adding a little something in there. I don't know if maybe it was too much or not. I'm almost done, actually. I want a little something here and a little something there. And since this painting is supposed to be about this purple, I think I'm just going to go with the flow. Pun intended! Flow art, pouring art. Yeah, you get it. It reminds me of one of my favorite people on the planet. Is very funny, mostly because he thinks he's very funny. Not necessarily because he is. But by the time he's done charming you, you can't help yourself. No. Okay. Time to clean off the chain, maybe. Maybe not, because I want some colors in there. Yeah, maybe so. Clean it off the best I can. Something I did recently is just coming up to be posted. You will have just seen it. I wish I could remember the numbers or the names of these things. Not the one that looks like a fish tank, but a similar one I did with 2 ice cube trays. Dried unbelievably, just blew my mind completely that it came out like that. I thought it was going to be, you know, just over the top, abstract, kind of foolish, even stupid. Alright, so I got a minute left to tell you, if you're searching for my artwork, it is for sale. You can see the album listed, the link to the Facebook album listed at the bottom of the description. You can go there and see the artworks that I have posted so far. They're not all there because Facebook messed with me. If you want to contribute to keep my studio going and help me make videos, Patreon and PayPal are links all under the description and on my YouTube channel header. There's Pinterest and Instagram. This is Priscilla Batzel in Spring Hill, Florida at Expressionist Art Studio Gallery, saying this is pretty well done, and thank you for joining me, and thank you everyone who's contributed to keep me painting. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I like that blue. I'm good with that. I think I might want to add some more, but I don't know where it's going to go yet, so I'm sorry about that. If something changes a little bit, I don't think much is going to change, to tell you the truth, other than that I'm going to touch up the sides. So I love you guys. Keep making comments. Ask me questions if you need to. My paint pouring recipe is underneath the description. I hope I told you everything, and if I didn't,